Hey YouTube, today I have a very fun lesson for you and it's something that I think is extremely important. Spanish sounding guitar chords. These are heavily based on flamenco chords. Most of them are borrowed from flamenco. I've never claimed to play flamenco. I play some kind of mutant hybrid mongrel version of acoustic guitar that's heavily influenced by flamenco, but we're not claiming here that we're playing flamenco, but we will use some of their chord colors and also some colors I've developed myself to make our guitar sound a bit more Spanish, basically, whatever that word means to you. So we're going to use the Andalusian cadence, A minor, G, F, E. In that case, I just played the chords, pretty standard versions, A minor, just like you'd learn in any guitar class or music school or whatever. But now we're going to start chopping and changing and making some cool sounding varieties of these chords. But that will be our basic chord progression, A minor, G, F, E. Before I go any further, please do like and subscribe if you enjoy what you're hearing. And if you would like tabs for the lesson plus more detail and more advanced lessons, please visit my Patreon page. Normal A minor chord from the fifth string would just be 0, 2, 2, 1, 0. I expect most of you know that chord. But the flamenco version, or the cool version I want to show you today, we put the fourth finger down. We put the fourth finger, the pinky finger down on the fourth fret of the G string. That note's a B note. So it's some kind of like A minor 9 or A minor add 9, something like that. B is the second and the 9 of A. So I love that chord. Quite rare for me if I'm playing anything a bit slow. If I'm playing fast, I'll grab the A minor chord because it's so easy to grab. I'll grab the A minor. But if I'm playing anything a little bit slower, or if I have a moment to prepare, I'll play that chord all the time, pretty much. Another very simple variation that some of you would probably know, but some of you wouldn't. Just putting the pinky down on the third fret of the E string, an A minor 7 chord. Also very useful, and you can cut on and off, which is really nice. Cool, so that's a nice chord. Next, the G. This is one of my favorite sounds to Spainify. If we just take our finger off the high E string, we get some kind of G6 chord. Now I absolutely love that sound. I've also seen people, so what I'm doing there is going 3, 2, 0, 0, 3, 0. I've also seen some people just take everything off the high strings and just play 3, 2 and nothing else. That's pretty cool, actually. But what I really love to do with this G chord, my favorite sound is this C sharp note. So sometimes I'll just play those two notes. I'll play the G, the bass note, open A string, open D string, open G, and just the second fret. I think that's such a gnarly chord. So that's a really good one. So if we come from A, something like that. F we've talked about before on this channel. There's the big fat F bar chord. You'll almost never hear that in flamenco or Spanish guitar or anything like that. You'll generally hear something like this. Once again, removing the bar so that the highest two strings ring open. It really is hard to see well on this webcam, and everything's kind of in reverse. I'm a bit like, struggling here. I'm trying to give you the best view using the webcam, but it is tricky. Maybe something like that's not too bad of you. Something like that. And you can also take the low one off. So it's like an E chord, which is what we're going to do next. If you just move the E chord up one fret. What I do a lot is I'll play the E chord. See, that's how you'd normally fret an E chord. Just normally, we call them cowboy chords, just strumming along. But what I'll often do is use the other fingers. I'll use the third finger on the second fret of the A string, the pinky finger on the second fret of the D string, and the middle finger on the first fret of the G string. It's still an E chord, I'm still fretting the same notes. But the reason I fret it that way is so I could leave my first finger free, see it's wriggling around because it's free, So I can move up one fret, and when I'm up at F, I can use it for all kinds of activities. So that's a really nice thing to do with the F chord. Then when we come to the E, I'll still bring that F in because that's really gnarly. And there's the very, very classic Spanish style F chord, which would be, so you play a normal E major chord, but just moving up one fret on the D string to the 3rd fret gives you that really, really meaty kind of gnarly sound that's so synonymous with Spanish guitar, flamenco guitar, gypsy guitar, whatever you want to call it. So we started with something like, that's kind of like the more normal chords, and then I've shown you something like, and I hope you'll agree that sounds a bit cool and a bit more interesting. There are, of course, more variations, but that'll be a good way to get you started, and I'd love to keep talking about this next time. Thank you very much.